So I could come across as someone who is a little bit arrogant and someone with a bit of superiority complex. But honestly, I've been asked these questions a lot. Have you ever studied abroad? Have you ever lived abroad? How did you study English? What kind of course have you taken? I would love to take that too. Oh my gosh, I feel super flattered to be asked this kind of questions, and I feel super honored and blessed, thankful to be asked these questions. But that's never because I'm talented in learning languages or academically gifted, but that's just because my approach to language learning. I've never taken any specific courses and I've never lived abroad. I mean, I did travel to English-speaking countries, but not like officially lived abroad. But yeah, basically I've taught myself. So what I did was just I created an environment where I have to speak English. I've been watching all content in English. I've been hanging out with friends who speak English, even though they're Korean, because I'm a native Korean. They're Koreans who are willing to speak English. And even I search for stuff in English. So I just Google things. I've never used, not never, but if I need it, yes. I don't really use Naver because that's a Korean website, therefore it doesn't have English data. So like really basic stuff, why do my heart pound super fast when I drink coffee? Or like why does my eyelid twitch? Just to get answers to my mundane questions. I even do get that answers in English. So yeah, my whole environment is English. That's all my approach to language learning. But I guess so far from my observation, people approach language learning in a little bit different way. Mostly they watch and read stuff in their target language. So like my target language is English, so I'm thinking about English specifically, but if it's it doesn't have to be just English. If it's your target language is Korean or like whatever, Russian, Spanish, you can apply this to your target language. But yeah, mostly they read and watch stuff in their target language. I think that's quite natural because mostly people become interested in that culture, that language through content, and that initial interest compel them to follow up by watching drama series or movies features their favorite celebrities or singers or actors, actress. But then they get stuck in that cycle of consuming content in their target language but never really give themselves an opportunity to produce output like writing or speaking, but still they do want to speak in their target language, interact with native speakers eventually, but it's just, I think they find it a little bit unfamiliar. The more we learn our target language through input-based methods, the more we feel a bit reluctant to speak or write because, again, we are unfamiliar with that. I think that's the whole point of familiarity. Never really tried. I think in that sense, my approach to language learning, again, it's been quite unique. Honestly, the first thing I did when I was interested in English and Western culture was downloading a bunch of apps to make foreign friends online, not just for the sake of learning English. I mean, out of curiosity and passion and enthusiasm, I just wanted to know what their culture looks like and their lifestyle look like, and just their personalities and what do they talk about, their general interests, and that's what I did. And on top of that, what's amazing, and it's a super privilege that we're able to make foreign friends within just clicks. We don't have to travel abroad to make friends. I mean, even like that would be even difficult, but we can do it like within a few clicks. That's something we should take advantage of this. So I've been taking that advantage, and it's the benefit, what I've got out of it has been super huge. Don't want to take it myself, but I do think all language learners should explore it. this opportunity, this privilege, this chance. So I decided to film this video on the benefits of making foreign friends online. First, you get to speak about your day-to-day routines in your target language, prompted by native speakers. So what's really fascinating is that you get to practice vocabulary and expressions relevant to your lifestyles, because usually, when we talk and chat with friends, what do we talk about? What are you up to? In Korean, 너 뭐 해? I'm at work. 나 일하고 있어. I'm studying. 나 공부하고 있어. I'm having breakfast. 나 아침 먹고 있어. I'm hanging out with friends. 나 친구 만나고 있어. Or I'm just chilling. 나 그냥 있어. There's day-to-day expressions. Even it would be perfect for beginners to pick up those expressions, not from textbooks, but through the interactions with native speakers. Personally, I don't really like learning languages through books. I'm not a big fan of that. But in Korea, when you go to bookstores, there are so many textbooks. There are so many books with lots of useful expressions. But I found it really boring because it's not really relevant to me at that point of my life. And then there are a bunch of expressions. What the hell? How can I remember and memorize all of this? It's a lot better to learn through interactions, especially because that's something you are experiencing. When you're at work, that's something very practical. So situationally, it perfectly matches what you are saying, put out. Therefore, those expressions are going to stick in your mind a lot longer than just reading textbooks and stuff. Yeah, irrelevant and boring. You get to speak because, we have this brilliant feature, voice notes. I've been using that all the time. I hate typing. At work, we do type a lot of stuff. But yeah, even when texting with friends, it's not really ideal for me. So I do a bunch of, you can tell in my chat room, I do always voice notes, and you can text. So writing, it will improve your writing and speaking, as well as reading and listening, because your friends respond to you through voice notes or texting, whatever, by reading their text messages or by listening to their voice notes. You will be able to improve speaking, writing, reading, listening. Just by chatting with them, you get to improve this 4 comprehensive skills. And also, I've heard that journaling is also really helpful to learn vocabulary, expressions relevant to your life, but chatting with friends is a lot more fun. And second, you get to use the expressions and vocabulary you just learned right away. What's the point of practicing and studying all this kind of vocabulary and expressions? What's the point of that? To use it. And that's the whole purpose of language learning. Eventually, we have this ideal image of us fluently, naturally conversing with native speakers. That's an ideal image, what we are kind of striving for. But if you don't have anyone to interact with, but just studying by yourself, but sure, if you find it productive and rewarding just in and of itself, then sure, that's fine. But personally, I want to use it. I do feel and sometimes I intentionally lead the conversation in the direction of certain things so that I can apply the newly learned vocabulary in our conversations. Then I get this immediate hormone, super positive. I feel, oh yeah, I learned it and I used it, and I feel it becomes mine in my vocabulary range. So that's mine because I used it. That proves that it's my vocabulary. And third, you get to practice your target language even when you get distracted. honestly, we get distracted a lot, especially in this digital society. I mean, all people are kind of glued to their phones. And when we are bored, what do? We pick up our phones and then we just go on Instagrams or like messenger apps, or we send messages to our friends. What's up? How are you doing? What are you up to? 뭐 해? 뭐 하고 있어? 어떻게 지내? Oh, I got this deadline, but I really don't feel like doing it. 나 이거 끝내야 되는데 하기 싫다. Those kind of things. But if you do that in your mother tongue, we feel kind of guilty and we get nothing out of it. But if you do that in your target language, then it still counts as you practicing your target language, you improving your, I don't know, writing or speaking somehow if you call them. Especially I do that a lot whenever I get distracted because I don't feel guilty spending my time talking to them on the phone in my target language. I don't feel guilty at all. I mean, even like with Korean friends who are not necessarily fluent in English, I still like type in English so that they can, but like I ask them their permission first. Can I use English? But then like they're quite positive with me so that they can improve their reading or whatever. They can brush up their English. Yeah, so you can turn your idle time into productive practice. So, highly recommended. And fourth, you get to hear native expressions on a day-to-day basis. Again, we're not learning through textbooks, but we're learning through context. I think like it's really fascinating that we get all these contextual meanings and all these nuances and layers. You know, like when we watch stuff, it's not our experience. Even though we have a perfect understanding of the context, what's going on there, it's not us experiencing it, but we are kind of a third person. And then we never really get to speak that language. And I'm not disapproving this way of like watching dramas, that way of learning language, but it's just a little bit, I don't know, dramas and movies, they're quite exaggerated and dramatic. Those situations are not really relate to us. Those situations are not really necessarily we often encounter. So, and then like those celebrities, actors and actresses, they don't come to us and explain what they've said and then like explaining the meanings behind it. But with friends, you get to talk to, they're just mundane, ordinary people like you. You get to understand a lot more nuances and layers and really pick up native expressions, the expressions real natives use. Aren't you curious? And then you're 100% involved in that context as well. And then you're able to emphasize with them in a deeper level because they're your friends. They're someone you feel connected to. Yeah, what they've said, it will draw certain feelings in you. That way you do have this emotional experience related to the expressions they've used. Again, therefore the expressions are going to stick in your mind a lot longer. And fifth, you get to expose yourself to these diverse cultures, traditions, and viewpoints. I mean, just by listening to their experiences, I mean, if you talk to them on a daily basis, you might be able to form some level of connection through that chatting. So now with my friends, I've been like, exchanging voice notes a lot. Like even like we are saying our podcast, I've been sending the voice notes, like a minute long voice note, like around like 6 or 7. I often vent to my friends and then they allow me to vent and then I also allow them to vent. So it's just a win-win and I feel super connected with her. Through her, she's British, I feel like I got to learn not just English but social norms and different costumes firsthand. So again, not textbooks, but through a real person who is living in that country. So therefore it enriches my knowledge and potentially personal growth because it literally broadens my perspective, and also understanding her viewpoints. I feel like I've been developing my adaptability and flexibility and realized, oh, I've been quite fixated on certain things and on the things especially inherited from my culture, affected by my culture here in Korea, because it's a homogeneous country. I think we kind of lack diversity, but through these interactions with foreign friends, I try to like keep this broad and open. Yeah, and then even like I've been considering getting a job abroad. Yeah, so it's been really life-changing. And I do truly love my friends I made online. Although like honestly most of them, I haven't met them in person. Sometimes I feel deeper connection with them than the friends who I do meet in Korea. And yeah, this is the apps that I've been using a lot. First, when I just started to learn English, I downloaded Anagram and Meef. I don't really remember because I don't use this anymore, but I got into a romantic relationship for the first time with a foreigner, and we did a long distance relationship for a year. I learned a lot from him. Highly recommend dating someone who speaks your target language. And this like Hello Talk and Hi Native, these are also really brilliant. Hi Native, it doesn't have a private messaging feature, but it's just an app where you can get all these answers from native speakers. You can get your sentences corrected by native speakers. So I've asked so far like 3,000 questions, and I made four really good friends. I've been in touch with them for the past 4 years. I ask them a bunch of questions. We sometimes do Zoom and just super eye-opening conversations. So I highly recommend Hi Native and also Hello Talk. I've been using that these days. There are also a lot of good people. My particular interests are meditation and yoga, and like those are quite unique. I guess not everyone meditates, but there are some people who found meditation interesting, and so we've been talking, and yeah, the conversation has been thought-provoking, engaging, so I do recommend these apps. It doesn't really matter whichever the app you downloaded, and yeah, but try to get the most out of these apps and cultivate meaningful friendships there. And thanks for watching. Thank you so much. I rambled a lot, but see you next time.